We would not like to have a CEO. We would like to have a superintendent like every other district in this state has, and that's someone with an education background and someone who really understands what's going on in classrooms as opposed to just looking at everybody like numbers. And we think that the problem with CPS right now is the educators have been moved out, and all these people from the private sector have come in, and they're bringing their culture with them, which is very antithetical to our culture.
Phyllis, your experience is with marketing and sales for big business, right? Kraft and IBM. And how do you feel when you hear that, the suggestion that we need someone who is not a CEO, who is not from big business, but we need an educator to replace Ron Huberman? You work for General Mills. You've done work for all these companies.
Absolutely. I feel personally frustrated as a Chicago Public School graduate, as a Southsider who saw firsthand what happens to my friends who did not get a good education versus the ones that didn't. It makes me really frustrated. We need a leader who cares about the kids. Too much of our education system right now is focused on the adults. It's focused on what's going to make the union happy, what's going to make politicians happy, and we have 50% dropout rate in Chicago, and that is completely unacceptable. So we need champions, we need leaders who are supportive of doing the right thing for kids.
And in your opinion, that could be a big business CEO?
It could be a big business CEO. It could be this gentleman sitting right next to me. We need people who care about education and who have the fortitude to make the best decisions for children.
I think the most important thing is it's not one person. I think with an enterprise the size of $6 billion that the Chicago Public Schools is, with the challenges that they have, you need all kinds of talents at the top of that chart to drive that school system. I think you need a great education leader with great credentials, perhaps a proven track record of having led a school successfully. I definitely think you need a set of business skills, Bob, because we're talking about $6 billion. This is not a small enterprise. Just to handle the finance alone, you need to have that background to be able to cope with those numbers and to be able to offer creative solutions when we have a Reading problem like we've been having. So I think it's a team of people.
Absolutely. And Bob, the business community has brought phenomenal leadership into education. I just left an opening in Inglewood for Noble Street School, which is the Johnson College Prep. This is named for John and Eunice Johnson, phenomenal entrepreneurs. Linda Johnson Rice was there. You had leaders from Glencoe, families who have gotten involved in helping to support this school. You've had organizations like Sun and Shine who've opened schools in North Lawndale, Baxter, Motorola. I mean, we need every resource available into our education system because it is truly a crisis in our country.
President Obama, as you know, has said that our economic competitiveness depends on a more educated workforce. He says money without reform won't fix the problem. And with all the talk now about this and the buzz over the movie Waiting for Superman, are we finally at the point where this is going to be our national obsession?
I hope so. I mean, I think there has been a national outcry, and I am hoping that we see that more in Chicago, quite frankly, that we cannot afford to waste any more time around opening high-quality schools for our kids and making the important decisions to get rid of teachers who aren't working well, to get rid of ridiculous policies that are undermining our children's education. We've had schools that have been failing for decades. And so it's extraordinary that we get a fight when we're trying to open a school, but when but when a school's been failing for decades, nobody says anything. It's only when you try to change the status quo, Bob.
And it's not just a high school or elementary school, it's the community college system. The President just held a summit this past week, which really highlights what needs to be done with community colleges across the country, Chicago particularly. We're in the middle right now, my board, our chancellor, in restructuring the city colleges of Chicago to make them work to produce a much higher graduation rate, graduates with an associate's degree, and we also are we're the bulwark for job training and job placement. That's what that summit was about. And Bob, we're absolutely obsessive right now about making this system work because it's an imperative, as you said, because people need to be retrained to take the jobs that are out there today in areas like technology and healthcare.
Well, it's ironic that the areas that got us to the moon are the areas we're in trouble in right now.
Exactly.
And people, I think, want education now to be the goal that putting a man on the moon was in the 60s.
Yes.
The way the space program lifted us all up, and we met the goal. But education is so important, but it's not as sexy as putting an astronaut on the moon, is it?
Well, listen, we have lost our competitiveness as a country. We are rated 25 out of 30 in science, 21 out of 30 in math. We cannot maintain our competitiveness as a country if we are not focused on education and fixing this problem.
This is the future of the, I'm sorry, this is the future of the city at stake here. In addition to the nation, if we get preschool right, K-8, high school, and higher education right in this city, it's our future. So there's nothing more important to invest in my view.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I'm so glad to hear that you're talking about improving the workforce coming into healthcare.
Yes.
You know, let's talk about a sexy idea of a goal. How about having great healthcare for every American? It will take more and more well-educated people to be able to do that, and it powers our economy if we have healthy citizens. That's our greatest resource. The moon is great. It's still there. How about investing in our people and their health?
By the way, how close did you come to becoming this country's Surgeon General?
I'm interested in what we're talking about here today.
You were on the short list. You were close to then Senator Obama, right?
These are issues that concerned citizens really care about, and I just want to put my effort, my time, my talent, and time, talent, and treasure. You want to put it toward noble goals.
That's
and
great. We've got
education.
To get you involved. We have to get you involved in our healthcare school we just launched. Actually, Instituto del Progreso. Just open one of our
exchange numbers here during this break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. This is Fox Chicago News Friday night. We'll be right back. Back to wrap things up, Rick, how did Kyle Orton get to be the NFL's #1 passer? What happened?
Easy, Bob. He left Chicago. Mystery beyond belief. You know, although he's got a really good offensive line in Denver. Yeah, that helps.
What about the thin air? Does that help?
Sure, yeah. The longer passes, they just go a little farther. Yeah, you don't want thick air. I don't know. I don't know, but it's not looking so good, is it?
Describe quickly, and if you can in 30 seconds, what is the process of writing a book with Mike Ditka like? How does that work?
It is hilarious. You sit there like Boswell, he's Johnson, you know, and there's noises in the background, there's all kinds of stuff, and you know, you just kind of try to listen, and he goes off on tangents. There's cigar smoke. There's rages. There's laughter. I mean, it is just hilarious. Great. That was wonderful.
Can't wait to read it.
By the way, we have a member of the panel. See if you can guess who on this panel is running in the marathon on Sunday. Will the real marathon runner please stand up? No, it's the doctor. It's the doctor.
Please don't check my time.
That's great.
And what do you do to train for it?
Oh, well, we start in March. We have great noble goals that we're going to run 20 to 30 miles every week, but then life intervenes, as it does for so many things, and interferes. So
her knees don't even hurt. It's disgusting.
You know, I do it because I don't have any excuse not to. I have no joint problems, so I just keep going. But I'm not passing many Kenyans these days, Bob. I'm looking at a lot of backs.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all the guests tonight. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you,
Hope
Bob.
to see you down the road. And that's it for another special Friday night edition of Fox Chicago News at 9. Larry Yellen will be here anchoring our news Saturday and Sunday. Robin Robinson and I will see you back here Monday night at 9. Now, for all of us on the late shift at 205 North Michigan Avenue, thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Good night.